Just watched that earlier.
It's a great pick.
Because I'm editing these fuckers.
Cassian Andor. Oh yeah, get it out. Do one of these too, just to make it difficult.
Oh, that's so mean. He's gonna
That's
bite
fine.
you in the ass.
That's
Trying to
easy.
hold on to
I'll
that.
just somehow forget Kirklin was on this episode when I do payouts at the end of the month. Oh, I don't think you were on Andor. I have no logging information. Oh, that episode's gone. But yes, gentlemen and ladies and everyone in between listeners, we are here to talk about Andor episodes 1 to 3. Disney Plus did a 3-episode event. Thank God it's more than 6 episodes. That would be half the season, because usually they market every
a
show as a
bold play.
6-episode event.
2-week season. That'd be bold. Just do like
Yeah.
3 to 3.
Well,
back to
maybe with
back.
Daredevil may get that with those 18 episodes, right? Maybe we're gonna get some sort
Yeah.
of 6 weeks, but triple the content. I don't know,
They're,
but
they're trying to slow us down on the midnight reviews. They're just
100%,
doing like
yeah.
three episode drops.
You're hurting the actual people we give screeners to, who are official critics, and we can't have you getting ahead of them. We can't have
Somehow you're getting it at 11:50. I don't know how. It should be dropping
Yeah.
at midnight.
Yeah, I am the number one. It's been it's been a day since I watched this, almost pretty much. Veek, what is it? What was the big alien
Vetch.
dude?
I think it's
Vetch. Thank you
Vetch.
very much. Vetch, no one fanboy. I guess I should learn his name before I said that, but that's all I got. And I'm joined by
I'm the blow dart daddy. I meant to say daddy, but now it's batty. Yeah, the blow dart
yeah.
batty daddy, Kirklin Patzer.
I'm the A Reckoning Taylor Field.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was a quick swap because Kirklin, you had something else before we went live, So
I always do that. Try and trick you. It wasn't too long ago. You used to like trick me and change my name on me.
yeah,
I
that's
know
a
it was
different type of trick.
unintentional,
You're not
but
tricking
still.
me if you're changing your own name. I'm just like, cool, that's what's happening. But yeah, so now we are just hitting a plethora of stuff right now. We have hit the fucking holy grail
Fucking
or the
jackpot.
devil's anus, as far as we got
Devil's
Andor, we
anus.
got She-Hulk, we got Rings of Power, and House of Dragon all running concurrently right now, with newscasts, with side quests, with weekly movie reviews happening, like Don't Worry Darling this week, like Smile next week. Black Adam's on its way. It's literally a month, so tons of stuff's going on. I'm throwing in some Trash Told Yous as I'm sitting at home impromptu, so you just got a bunch of things going on with this feed right now, with all the feeds. Today, where can they find all the feeds right now?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find it and more with your internet connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter. GeekVerse on our Facebook.
Everything else you need to know is down below. How to find our video, our audio, where to find the Discord, and the best ways to support us, which meaning either subscribe to on the feeds, but also head over to Patreon, because you can get ad-free exclusive early episodes. Right now, you can get up to 4 exclusive episodes this month. We cut it from August. You got 2 originals up there, and After 9, Adam Bread and Butter. That's about nearly, I think it's over 10 hours content, stuff like that. Lots of good things. You can vote right now. Had some interesting choices. I'm sending them to you guys, but everyone on the Phase 5 tier and up is going to start putting in their submissions for our Halloween retro. So go check that out. That's gonna be lots of fun. The Phase 4 patrons are going to vote on that. Speaking of the Phase 4 patrons, a big shout out to April of Darkness, Aaron Brain, and Smalley Biggs, and Joshua Wright, because also them and other people, you can go look at it's easier explained on our Facebook and Twitter, but for Extra Life, we have a nice spiffy Lord of the Rings themed GeekVerse Extra Life shirt. So in order to unlock that, you got to join the Phase 4 tier for 3 months, and you're going to get every single perk that you have down below, and also the shirt, and then all the proceeds from that tier in October are going to go towards our Extra Life. I think in our original post it said November, but I thought, well, it should be October because Extra Life's November 5th. So October, not only are you going to be getting benefits, not only are you getting a shirt, your Patreon feed money is going to be going towards Extra Life, which is BC Children's Hospital for us and helps a lot of kids and families. So just a good overall deal. So you got about 9 days to do that now, to jump on that if you want to be, because you got to be there at the very beginning. You can't jump off in the middle of the way. Same thing if you join, you got to be there for the whole 3 months. That's how Patreon does it, but it's exclusive shirt you won't be able to get anywhere else. So go check that out. And then also, if you want to support us, head over to Manscaped and use that podcast code GVPOD to get 20% off and free worldwide shipping. The more you support our sponsors, the more you support us. And same with Patreon, the more you support us, the more content, feeds, everything. All these episodes I just listed, that's not possible without the listeners and the patrons, so we appreciate and thank you kindly. Kirklin Patzer, non-sport thoughts. What did you do? What did you do? What did you think about
What did you do?
What do you think about the 3-episode event of Andor? So we're gonna, like, obviously it's hard to talk about all of them non-spoilers for the first 3, but we will just be putting these all together this review, just so people know when we get into spoilers. But what did you think? What are your initial thoughts on Andor?
My initial thoughts were was thumbs up. So that's always a good sign for the start of a new series, especially when it comes to
Yes.
Star Wars. No, I honestly I had a really good time with these episodes. I definitely have some things to pick apart. Maybe I'll get deeper in that in the spoiler section. But overall, I think it's just a really sweet show. I didn't like love Rogue One. I didn't hate Rogue One, so I was somewhere in the middle. And I think just like building upon that like spy feel, like it's totally hitting that mark for me. Visually looks fantastic. Oh my gosh, some of the CGI in here, I swear it looks better than some movies that I've seen lately. Like it is just totally blowing my mind. There was like one particular scene. It was like, oh yeah, it's like, look at it, my sons. Isn't it beautiful? That was the thought I had. But other than that, I thought like overall like the CGI looks so good. All of the costumes and different like alien creatures we're seeing, the sets, it looks very alive, and it doesn't seem like I'm just going through like the same street as we mentioned on like Mando season 1 or whatever it was. Like it just seemed like that they kept going around on the same set, but like here
Yes.
I really felt like we were going all across the galaxy, and it was I'm totally loving that. Diego Luna, is that his name, the lead?
Yes.
He's so fantastic. Oh my gosh, I like, while I'm watching, I'm just like, I'm so glad I got this series just to get more of this character and this actor, because he's just so great. And I liked Cassian enough in Rogue One, and I'm really liking just unraveling his story a little bit more. I think the pacing overall, it's slower, but it really works for the show. Maybe I'll get further into that in like the spoiler section, because I was watching it with Shay and she was just like, oh, nothing's happening, this is so boring. But I was just like, oh no, you're not. You're like, you gotta pay attention to like these little things going on. And like I'm really glad that these first 3 episodes dropped, because I feel like by the end of it didn't even feel like I watched like I guess the episodes are shorter, so it's only like half an hour or whatnot. But it didn't feel like I watched 3 episodes worth of content. It just seemed like, okay, yeah, though that was a good start to the show. So I think the 3 episode drop worked really well in the favor, at least of this show. Yeah, I think some other things I'll save, other than just maybe like giving a little bit of a hint if nobody's actually seen the show yet. I think the villains are very, very cheesy and campy, and I know
Oh,
we're
boy.
getting
Boy.
there to like the beefier stuff, I hope. But like initially it was just like these cartoony type characters, and I was like eye rolling and like LOLing in not the right ways. So it's. But like that being said, I am definitely way more in the positive camp. Like after all, or all in all, overall. That's the word I
After
was looking
all,
for.
I'm more than positive. Camp.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good time for me to go. So, as people know, I'm not the biggest fan of Rogue One. I didn't think we really needed this show. Love Diego Luna. I loved him since I saw him in Milk. Been like, who the fuck is this guy? And he's good and everything. So I was like, okay, at least I can watch. I know I got a charismatic, very charming, very dashing lead time. Great. I know many people have the accent, but it just sounds, his Spanish accent just sounds like the best. Like, I don't know what it is. Just like something about it. Like he could sell me anything. Like, oh, I'm gonna buy it, Diego. Absolutely. So, what I will say, the pause about the show is, yeah, that's what I tweet about, what Kirklin talking about. We've talked about since the trailers. It's one of these shows that makes me mad about other Star Wars and MCU shows that don't look as good as this, because I feel genuinely most of this looks like movie quality stuff. It looks almost like we had with Rings of Power with Amazon over there, and not everything's perfect in that show either. But I just mean like I feel like the times where those shows now feel very cinematic are few and far in between. I could probably make a list of, like the Crate Dragon from The Mandalorian. That felt cinematic, but then he shoots out this very bad CGI lava fire, right? So it's like there's always something where it's breaking the immersion, and there's no log trucks in this for me. There's nothing. I'm interested to see what Kirkland shuts out his thing, because I didn't think anything was to the look at this level and stuff like that. I might know one thing you're talking about, but even then I feel like it's a better version of that. So visually it's the best thing they've ever done, and even if it means these other shows need to be delayed or take more time, they should do this. All the shows should look like this. They should feel like cinematic. That's what I remember with Mandalorian. That was always my fear, and the trailers kind of made it look like that. And then when we got Mandalorian, it's like, yeah, most of the time it feels cinematic, but it's still, actually I won't say most of the time, I'll say like it's usually like a 60-40, where there's still tons of stuff where it doesn't. And MCU has it too, where there's some stuff where it feels, oh, this is great, and other stuff where there's the log truck, there's some other episodes, there's lots of things in She-Hulk, right, where it's like, that doesn't look the greatest. So visually stunning, score fantastic as well, music's really good, liking that. So it has a good vibe, especially the first opening scene of this movie felt like a synth, almost like drive sort of scene. So I loved that. Acting's good all across the board, except for probably the villains, which I'm with Kirkland, where it's not that they just feel like cartoony, it's just definitely that was the, and maybe these actors will improve in down the line, and I don't even think they're like the worst. It's just that they stand out a bit more. What was I gonna say? Yeah, and I think if you are looking for, and when I say slice of life, that might sound like people describe She-Hulk as a slice of life, right? And I don't mean the sense that She-Hulk has like very little stakes and just like, oh, what's it like to be a lawyer? To me, this is a slice of life, or the day of what it felt like. And again, as people know, I'm not a big fan of the dark times. I am, but just we've been there so much. So I feel like I have a good grasp of what it is, but I feel like they're doing a really good job of what it felt like to be desperate and alive during this time. I feel like it is good seeing not the people completely like the Leias or the Hans, not seeing the Luke or the Obi-Wans and stuff like that, seeing what just normal regular people, soldiers, etc. are going through in these times where they're very oppressed. And I think the show is doing that very well. I don't think there's anything necessarily bad about the show, and I think the problems I have with Rogue One aren't going to be the problems I have with this one, because with Rogue One I feel like you get very little character development from everybody. I don't think it's going to be the case here, because I think with so many episodes and so much time they will develop people and stuff like that. There's just certain aspects. There's a storytelling choice that I wasn't a big fan for the first three, but I'm hoping that's gone. This is a show that, and I don't think I'd be completely on the same line as her, but when Shay said it's kind of boring, I'm a big Star Wars person. I'd kind of say pretty much the same thing. I don't know if we're covering anything that hasn't really been covered before. I think it's a good, like I said, slice of life of that era, but it just, I've seen enough of it, and it all depends on where you are in a Star Wars fan, right? But it feels like it's paced very much like a book, and there's lots of times when I'm not with Cassie, and it's like Master and Apprentice tale when we did that, and I think you were more on that side when we weren't with Jedi and Obi-Wan. It's like, I don't really care about this stuff. That's how I feel about majority of these characters. I don't know if I need the villains to have such a big highlight. The mystery of how we get here, I didn't know if we need a highlight. I think there's been some really great moments in the show, and I think the show is good overall, but this is a one that, luckily the third episode I think was the best one. I think that was paced really well. There was some action, but it was more just the stakes got risen and I was getting interested. So I'm hooked in for like the next few weeks, but it was a show where the first two episodes I could wait to the end of the season and binge it. I would not need to watch this week to week. And I'm very curious how this is going to do streaming and viewer wise, because I actually could see this being like Miss Marvel. I don't know how this is actually going to pull in like a lot of your GA Star Wars fans. And I think that's kind of I think the show is kind of risky in that sort of sense of, are you going to get your money's worth? I don't know. I think a lot of people would tune out after episode 1 and be like, I'm not going to come back to this. I just feel like it's hitting a type of Star Wars that is not for everyone, which is not a bad thing. But when you're running a business, you do have to look out for that. And I think everyone had that feeling with Andor of like, why are we doing this? And I think episode 3, we kind of get that, but it might be too late. Yeah, I don't know.
I agree with what you said on like might not be the most approachable for like a general audience member, because I feel like if I just saw this first episode or even like the first two, like it would have been like, okay, next week, like tune in here next time.
There's tons of people that won't. They'll watch one and be like, oh, we do this with shows that we don't review, right? Oh, I watched a couple and I'm gonna get back to it, and we never do. So people not reviewing this or not hardcore Star Wars fans, I feel like they're gonna get through one and a half and be like, I'll watch this when it's done, and they may never watch it because they know the ending of the story. They know the Empire gets defeated, and they know Cassian dies on a fucking beach, And like that's the thing with these prequels is with Obi-Wan, the pull was Ewan. No matter what you have Ewan and Hayden back, and that's two classic characters. So I don't think the episodes, they were fine. And also, we'll talk about spoilers. I think there's some like adult stuff in here that I'm just not actually a fan of. I know it was a trending name talked about. It's just there's certain things in Star Wars that I like, and I'm not saying people can't like it, but it feels like it is probably the most adult thing they've done with Star Wars, Disney so far has. But I don't know if it's like necessarily like needed. So I like the show enough, but it feels very much like Rogue One, where for me it's like a 6 out of 10 somewhere in there as far as just enjoyment, not the I think this is bad. It's just, and I think people that made this feel like it's gonna be one of the best. It's the best Star Wars Disney thing. It's the best. No, it's not. It's the same Rogue One people that tricked themselves into thinking that's a great movie that are tricking themselves again that this is a great show. It's a fine show. It's fine. It's made well. It's fine. Tony Gilroy hates Star Wars. So anyways, Taylor Field.
So I'm on the opposite spectrum of that. because I love this show and I love Rogue One. One of the
No,
biggest
you're the
reasons I love
person I
Rogue
described.
One.
You're the person
biggest
that tricked yourself.
reasons. The biggest reasons I love Rogue One is
Darth
because it was
Vader.
just, well, Darth Vader's a good point of it, but it's a bold film that heavily focuses on characters outside of the norm that we're used to, outside of the Skywalker. And yes, you can say Skywalker's in there for sure because he's he's Darth Vader, but it still focuses primarily on these other characters and this original story dynamic with these new developments. I think that's it's such a bold and exciting new thing to have introduced fans, and that's why it's so divisive, because you have the fans that like what we're so used to with Jedi and Star Wars and all that kind of stuff, the Skywalkers, and then you have other fans who are like, oh, this is cool, we get to see the military and the regular life and stuff like that outside of the Skywalkers and stuff. So it creates this interesting division, and I love that, because I think that's perspective. That's what you need. It's something that I always love, because you can create different things in this universe that are tailored to different likes that
See what he did
the
there?
fan base enjoys.
Taylor
Yeah,
to
so-
Taylor.
Oh yeah. And I
True
think
and
that's just
true.
true and true. It's a healthy way to just keep expanding and growing your fan base and growing your overall thing. Because if everyone likes everything about what you're creating, you're gonna eventually hit a stagnant kind of, iffy, rocky kind of
Okay,
thing.
I gotta jump in here though, because I feel like Taylor's painting it that I'm the person that I don't like this show or don't love it because it's not a Jedi show. I was very excited for Rogue One. It's the quality of that film that I think is just kind of fine. I'm down.
You told me,
for-
you're like, there's no Jedi's in this. This movie
Yeah.
bombs.
Vader
Yeah,
better
that-
show up.
It was in the trailers the whole time. I could never say that. But like Rogue Squadron, that's another one where like, oh, that would sound great. I've said I want a fucking pod racing show, just the people in the pod racing. So I'm not in that, and I don't think everyone's in that camp as well. It's like that's why the show's fine, because there's no Jedi. It's not that. It's just what they're covering, the mystery, the pacing of it, the villains, stuff like that. Now that Superman Mike says Travis is triggering me so much. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to trigger the people. So.
For what we get now in this show, I really didn't know what to expect. Like, I knew, okay, we're gonna get non spoilers. We're gonna get Cassian.
good
We're gonna have
reminder.
adventures.
Fuck, we better get Cassian.
Yeah. So outside of that, and just knowing the episode count, I was hesitant because I was thinking to myself, okay,
What is the
is
total
it really-
episode count
It's
again?
like 24, I think. Isn't it?
Okay, yeah.
No.
That's-
Well, it's 12 for this year, 12 for the next.
Right. Yeah. They broke
Yeah.
it up
All one
weird.
season.
Yeah.
What do you mean they broke it up weird? They took 24 and split it in half. What's
I'm
the
just
weird-
confused because it was like 5 seasons and they're jumping around. Like, it confuses me.
Okay,
So it's
Okay.
24 episodes in the one season, or is
Okay,
it like
no.
12 and then next year we're getting
And
the next
again-
12 and 12.
They always said 12 and
True,
12.
true.
Those rumors of the 5 seasons, those were rumors. They never came there. So don't put that on Lucasfilm. Oh, they're confusing us.
Oh,
No,
I'm
they
putting
never
it. It's
said-
all Kathleen
No.
Kennedy's fault. She lied.
Five
told you
seasons,
this
24
before.
per. You
I
heard it
told
here
you-
first. You
I
can
t-
take that to the bank, Star Wars fans.
I
She's
told you
just
this
getting hype.
before. It's because there was 24 episodes. I guarantee the scoopers thought, well, because it's 6 episodes, it must be this many seasons. No, they never confirmed that. Taylor stopped going against
There we
Lucasfilm.
go. Confirmed. What Travis said confirmed. So getting into this show, it really caught me by surprise. It really has put Rogue One up on a higher pedestal for me because I really appreciate where those characters, at least one character, is coming from, and I love just seeing the day-to-day life, because everything that I love about Star Wars Rebels, I feel like was captured in this. And I will say, I actually like the villains and I like what they were doing, but I think that's because I liked the campiness of Star Wars Rebels villains, and I feel like these guys were pulled right out of an episode of Star Wars Rebels. So I think that's why I kind of enjoyed it, because
It's
in
a
terms
child's
of like,
animation show. That's what works better for me. This is not. This is a show where they're doing stuff that it's more like not safe for work, and you have these like really goofy guys in here.
True, and I'll only go so far on the goofiness, because I feel like there's other elements that were displayed where I think, this is it's funny because it's represented in other situations and other movies that I've seen, and I'll talk about that when we get into the spoiler part. But I definitely let that slide because I can see how they were trying to tackle it. But I just see it again as it's just going to be kind of like a step towards, like you mentioned, Kirklin, towards like another more like sinister kind of opponent that will arise in the show or something like that. But yeah, opponent. So far, what we got, I've really, really enjoyed it. The pacing has not been an issue for me at all, and I'm so into this story. I'm so ready to keep on going. And the CGI, like you guys mentioned, I can't believe it. It just looks so good. It looks like what is going on? Like, why are some shows just atrocious and why are some like spot on like this?
It's a
There's
shot in space. That's why it was all real
Yeah.
footage.
Like
Oh,
Tom
God.
Cruise is doing with his next movie.
It just blows my mind how clean it looks and like crisp. I really enjoy it. And that's one of the big things that was just kind of like roping me in. It was like cleaning off my lenses on my glasses. Like, oh my God, like this is so good. um, and yeah, score, everything, the way it's been shot cinematically. There's so much going on in this, and I don't expect the GA or most Star Wars fans to get on board with it and probably indulge in it, but it's just something that I can really get into. And man, like the dynamics that we've already experienced with the show and what's to come, I already know this is easily going to be. This is already ahead of Boba Fett for me.
Well, that's not hard. I would put this in front of Boba Fett as well. If you had to ask
Like,
me,
The whole
I would rather.
season, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even joking. Like, yeah, I would take that
The
in a second.
the thing for me, it depends because depending how the next couple episodes go, I could see this going above Mandalorian for me, just because this is just spoon feeding me the Star Wars that I like and I really want to get. I do like how you mentioned it. It is kind of feels like a book in the way they
Very
kind of
much
tackled
so,
it.
yeah.
And I was. It's funny because you said that right when I was thinking it in my mind. And when you look at it something like a Master and Apprentice and you get to those parts where it's not focusing on the Jedi, I can definitely understand that because it's like, well, I'm reading this book about Master and Apprentice. I want to know more about Master and Apprentice. But going into this and knowing what it is and just being absorbed into like the political side of Star Wars, I think it's just a show that's speaking to me more than I thought or anticipated it would. So there's my rant.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you haven't seen Andor, we're
Fuck.
right there. Taylor speaking the truth. Superbad Mike, you're gonna get banned over there. You know. So if you've not seen Andor, now's the time because there's 3 episodes. Now's the time to tune out and come back. We'll be telling spoilers. We'll be here the whole time. So we will be right back. And we're back. So yes, now we're in the territory of spoilers. So again, anything is free. So I wanted to talk to you guys first about, because I notoriously, so there's this show called, Arrow that has Green Arrow and stuff like that. And they did this for their whole season where half the episodes were always the current day stuff and half the episodes were the flashback. Now, I will say that's not the case with this. The flashbacks were, I'd say, like 25% of the episode and stuff like that. And I'm hoping after 3, because it kind of told that story that it's done, but I don't know what it is. Like, Kirklin, where is it hitting you as far as those? Like, what if the whole season's like that? Because for me, I'm kind of iffy. Like, I like it in certain things, but I don't know if I need that the whole season. So
Fucking bad time to open the chat. Is that you that did that?
Oh,
No.
yeah.
That was him. I tagged you so you'd look at it because I knew you didn't laugh at it yet.
Okay, you fuckers have done it to me enough during shows. So.
Oh, that's good. What was the question, Your Honor? Oh yeah, the splicing.
flashbacks, yeah.
We didn't have any, hammering to trigger. No back to tanks.
No, thank
So
God.
I will say, I felt like the flashbacks was like very well. Like I was kind of crediting the pacing, and I feel like this is something to it where it didn't feel like, oh God, I'm hearing some hammering. Get
Yeah.
prepared for a 15-minute fucking flashback sequence. I don't even know what the fuck's going on. But in this, it's like it blends in very, very smoothly from like a transition. Maybe someone will like say something and then it like goes to his reaction as a kid. It happened a couple times where he would hear something and then it'd be his reaction to hearing it like as a kid. And like, man, like for me, it was like, holy shit, like that's how you do these flashbacks. And they don't feel over drawn like those flashback sequences as well. Like I feel like I'm not really losing much time from like the older Cassie and stuff. So for me, I that's some of like the best stuff, honestly, in the show. It is the balancing of that, and I think it was like I said, like it kept me interested in both time eras, I guess you could say. So yeah, for me that like all that stuff is working very, very well, and like especially right at the end of episode 3, you get like that really beautiful transition of like
Yes.
him on the ship and then like seeing Marva, I think was her name, Aunt Petunia, and then obviously it goes back to his reaction as an older gent. And man, for me it was just like, holy shit, like I've never seen them do like flashbacks like that, definitely not on Disney Plus. So give them big thumbs up, because they had a bad track record for a while of having these like triggers that would trigger
yeah.
these flashbacks. So I'm glad we got away from that.
Yeah. Taylor, what about you?
I was going in anticipating, okay, we're probably gonna get something here. But again, when I look at the trailer, I couldn't properly like cut and paste how this is gonna go. I honestly thought maybe we would just get part of the first episode being in the past of just young Cassian, and then it progressed to present day. But I love how they intertwined everything, and I think it really, really, fuck, it really, really, you got him good. It really, really works for me. Like really, really, really works for me. I was never really, really opposed to how they kind of intertwined the flashbacks in the previous episodes. And it just seems to be a Star Wars trope at this point. Obi-Wan had it, Book of Boba Fett, Mando. Like it's in every series, and for it to be in here, I think it's much more refined. I feel like it fits right in with the story nicely. I love how it parallels to how our story is being told as well. It's a similar equivalent, and it's very intriguing because I'm trying to focus in on how things are unfolding, and they're talking about when they're looting the ship, they're like, oh yeah, like Republic troops and stuff, and that kind of dates it, so we know it's pretty soon, right after the war. I'm just super, super into all that stuff, and I'm biding my time because I'm gonna see my clone troopers soon, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, and, like I said, I don't want to make it sound like I'm Boba Fett levels, because that to me was egregious flashbacks where we just have spent copious amount of times, and really I felt like we didn't get much out of them. I think these are much better done. I'm just hoping it's not there for the whole season. I like this for I could take a few more because it's 12 episodes, so I'm not saying you can never do any again. I just don't. I hope not every single episode's gonna be him as a kid, this and that, because especially the whole thing was, he's getting off this ship, going to a new planet, and at the end he was going with a Stellan Skarsgård to go like somewhere new on a new adventure and stuff like that. So I feel like you kind of got the point across. I liked it enough, but I felt like with Kirklin's nickname, I felt that was a little almost like it was good, but it became comedic with how many blow darts was in the poor bastard and stuff like that.
Fuck.
I was waiting for him to like react to, oh my gosh, what's the character's name from old school? When he just like takes like the donkey dart. I guess it's Frank the Tank. And then it's just like they start tripping out, and then they just kept lighting him up. I'm like, fuck, that guy's never going to wake up.
No, he's not waking up. They murdered that man, which is fine, but it's because like who knows what was going on. But so yeah, we'll see what's going on with those flashbacks and stuff like that. I gotta shout this out because when the show started, I think my favorite, actually, I would say the ending of episode 3 was great, and we'll talk about a bunch of that stuff later. But my second great moment was the beginning of the show when he goes in the bar and he has that scene with the waitress and those two guys, and they hold him up, and he kills that one guy accidentally, and another guy he just shoots in the head. Then I realized the reason I like it because it's pretty much just the exact same as Rogue One, where he gets that scene with the guy. And he's like, "Oh, well, I'll tell you the information. Just make sure I'm gonna be alive." He's like, "Yeah, okay," and he kills him. So it felt like after I was like, "Oh, they kind of just ripped off their own stuff." So it actually made me like it a little bit less, but I still liked it nonetheless. I liked the setting and I loved the score a lot. And again, it was just showing that Andor will do like whatever he needs to get forward and stuff. And then this one was like a little less because they were trying to stick him up. Now he didn't have to shoot that guy in the head, but still, like, I liked it, but it felt just very reminiscent of Rogue One, which I didn't know if it was needed. But I liked the setup we were on, and he was looking for his sister and all this jazz. So I liked where we ended up, or sort of we started in this adventure.
Yeah, I agree. I really like the opening of this. I feel like I was expecting him to like find a way to not kill this guy. Maybe I'm just too like Disney filtered. I'm like, no, he's not gonna like. I'm like yelling at the TV, like, just fucking end him. Like, just do it. You get what he fucking deserves. Like one of those scenes. And and it never. And then it actually came. Like he just popped off, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like, okay, that kind of caught me off guard here. And then I don't know. I feel like that was honestly the best decision to make in that moment, because the guy's like, "Oh yeah, he fell, man. Just we'll go back in. Like, just
Very
trust
sus.
me here." Yeah, very sus. And then he just fucking ran off that planet and was never coming back. So I like the stakes there, because it was like, okay, this guy isn't afraid to like do what he has to like get his goal. I did like that a lot. I kind of forgot about I feel like I haven't even rewatched Rogue One since it happened. Actually, no, that's a lie. I've done it once. I watched it with Shay, so I'll have to revisit it definitely by the end of the show, I think.
Don't worry about
it. But I really like that opening sequence. But actually, yeah, I'll hold what else I was gonna say, because I was gonna lead into the villains. But Taylor Field.
It's very Blade Runner-y, I'd say, when that
Mm-hmm.
kind of started. Just the way it was lit, and he's walking through, and there's people in these little bubbles, and they're like, some of them are being sexual, others are look like they're ready to fucking kill you. Like, I couldn't really figure out what's going on.
That
but
was
it
the
very
that was the
cool.
scene that gave me the like. Did you ever see Ryan Gosling's Drive at all?
No.
No, it's not a movie for you, but that's what got Kirkland. You've seen it, right?
No, I haven't.
Oh my
watch
god!
it
Okay, we're
together.
gonna have to
Let's
retro
do
at
it.
some point. But he's just like he's a stunt man, but he gets in some tricky situations to do with crime. But it was like really paced like that, and it was lit, and the music was like that. But Blade Runner is another good shout out too.
Also Ryan Gosling, right?
Also
The Goss, the hot Goss.
True, yeah, he's in both worlds. Yep.
Yeah, when he got in there, and I think this is cool because just to see this part of Star Wars, we always seen like the Twi'leks and stuff like that, just kind of being sexualized, but just knowing like, hey, this is clearly a sex club. And I'm thinking like, hey, little Jimmy, he's used to watching his Clone Wars. Now he's excited for the Andor show. He doesn't know what this place is. You know, he doesn't know what these ladies are doing.
They got black
What-
series back there. That's what he's thinking.
Oh yeah.
Was he excited for the Andor show though? The Andor show where the little kids like couldn't wait for Cassian Andor. Well, I do want to ask that though because like, so you had that. You had they said not as bad, but the woman that's like his like adopted mother, whether says bastards. Later on, which caught me very off guard, we had a character say shit. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I'm not a fan of it, and I feel like
Why?
there's some. Because I just don't like. Because there's certain things I don't like. The same way in Lord of the Rings when there was a rumor they're gonna have like nude sex scenes. Like no, I just don't. We've never heard it before. It just sounds weird, and it feels too of our time of a character to say shit. When the other characters have in the past, when they say the words that are considered very offensive over there, they're always something for them, like a nerf hurt or something, right?
More
It's
than
something-
see you in hell.
we've talked about before. I don't like that because they don't ever talk about a concept of devil and God and stuff like that. They don't talk about it in Star Wars, right? They don't talk about there's a God or there's a devil. So there's a certain terminology that is to our current lifetime that I'm not a fan of. So I'm not a fan of this shit and everything like that. I'm not like it. It just didn't work for me. It worked for me enough when they did the like semi like the most sex scene you're probably gonna get in a Star Wars movie because I was wondering where we were gonna go when she took her top like her jacket off.
I know.
And she went in the bedroom.
I was like, what show am I watching right now?
Yeah.
Is this Disney?
I'm like, what is about to happen here? And then she walked bedroom and just cut away. So I'm like, okay, the
I
kids.
grabbed my
just-
AB repeat. I was ready, and then I was
Yeah.
disappointed.
It's like, oh, they just went to sleep. So, like, I don't mind. It didn't like offend me. It's just like that's just stuff that like I don't need in Star Wars. Just some guy like, ah, shit. Like it's just like that's where it starts to feel fan filmy for again. Just like Rogue One, where it felt very fan film at times, where it's like someone just got together like, I want to do this and do this. Wouldn't it be cool if he said shit? Like, and because I don't think Tony Gilroy is a big Star Wars guy, that's what happened. So. I don't
That's
like it's just like I just imagine George watching this and like some character saying shit in Star Wars. I'm like, oh, that's not how I really feel. And I like I know I don't always agree with everything George thinks, but yeah, I don't know. Just didn't. I don't like it in this world for me. It doesn't do it. Not because the kids didn't give a shit about Andor. They didn't like that's why I say the kids
Andor?
they weren't yeah casting Andor. I was like it's
You're
Andor,
telling your
but
you're telling your
yeah,
kids how to
it's
pronounce
Andor.
it.
But yeah, they didn't give a shit about this show. They're like, oh, this is boring. So like, I don't know. Not for me being the kind of almost like trying to be edgy in a way. I just didn't play. It just stood out in a poor way for me.
Did you tweet at Mr. Lucas himself and just be
I
like,
did.
can you believe what
You
they're
seen
doing to our
this?
Star
Yeah,
Wars?
yeah.
Yeah,
They
Said
butchered my
shit.
boy. Yeah, I started a petition like those mothers always do of like this is bad for my kids. No, I don't think it's that. I don't care if a kid hears the S word. It's just we've never heard it before, and it didn't feel like it felt the universe to me. And then when it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like that, that's where it starts to feel like a fan film. So
On that note too of just like feeling kind of out. I was like on the fence when she was like, oh, do you want any calf made? But like because I think she said CAF is how she pronounced it. Like when she wakes up in the Tim's. Oh, we'll talk about Tim in his bed in the next morning. I was like, do we just got coffee now in Star Wars? It's just never been a thing before. But I'm glad it at least changed the wording. So again,
Yes.
that fits into kind of that category of keeping it to itself, kind of like how you mentioned, like the Nerf herder example. Like they're keeping it in their own realm, even though it's something that like you wake up, get your coffee if you drink coffee. But so. Yeah, fair enough. I feel like I even slipped when they said the shit line. I don't even remember. Was it in that brothel?
No,
sequence?
it's at the battle. It's when they like realize Andor and Stellan Skarsgård on the other side. It's like I think it's right after the ship blows up. They're like, that means they must be behind us, and the big guys are like, shit. And
They,
then,
well, they didn't say it means it's behind us because they
Whatever-
just blew off on the speeder and the guy
who
just
cares?
said shit because the
Who
body just
cares?
blew up.
They got away.
You're adding in lines. You're adding in lines.
No, but all that matters is the main line. It's like
dick.
they get away and like, shit. And it's just like, what are we, in Lethal Weapon here? Come on now. So
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Taylor, what do you think?
Definitely didn't bother me. I thought it was
No.
very fitting. Like
Yeah.
shit is definitely at the bottom of the scale of words for me. If you were to be like say fuck, then I'd be like okay.
But they've never
that's
said that in Star
definitely-
Wars, though. They've never
You
said shit.
just say like Jesus Christ.
They-
that would be
the
the
That would be questionable. Yeah, I mean
Oh,
the fact that
cunt.
they've never said shit though. I mean that's fine because there's first for everything. And I imagine like if they're saying other miscellaneous like English, if they're saying the English language period, then eventually that means shit exists somewhere because
And-
if they speak English in Alien, that means they have access to every single word in our English dictionary in the Star Wars
feel like-
universe.
I feel like they've mentioned like a certain creature's poo before, or like
Bantha
something
fodder.
dung. So, yeah, so it fits.
Why don't you
there.
just say, oh, father?
Bantha
you
shit.
know?
Yeah.
I couldn't see an officer having just watched this
Oh,
and then
fuck,
blow
don't
up,
even
say
do
fodder.
that. Don't even
Bantha
say-
fodder.
In Star
It
Wars
doesn't
Rebels,
work.
you could. If this was
and
like a cartoon,
even
show,
in
you
this
could.
episode, I can't see them saying that. You had this guy giving this like embarrassing speech first episode. We're like, what the fuck
Okay,
am
well,
I
let's
watching here?
let's speak to that.
So
Let's speak to that.
That's where
now.
I think that argument goes completely out the window. Like I couldn't see them say something like that.
let's
It's like
let's
they're
speak to
completely
that.
cheesy.
So the reason I kind of go to a certain degree with that is there's many different displays of when you have your standard squadron sergeant, all the field experience, and they look up to the sergeant. That's how it goes. Then you have this high up lieutenant guy just out of like school or just comes by the book, steps in, tries to lead the squad, and just butchers how he's leading it. It's a classic way that they've always kind of done this kind of trope, and I've noticed in some military films and stuff like that. So when they do this kind of baseline scenario, to me, I think it's passable because the guy has limited field experience and they're all looking up to the sergeant, and then the sergeant's like, nope, like here, this is the the guy in charge, look up to him. And so that's why, even though it's campy for most, I still definitely let it pass because of the way they tackled it. And again, these guys are just bottom of the barrel goons. I would expect nothing more or less in the way that they are all acting, I guess you could say, with their mentality and their kind of going about business. Now, if we were kind of getting into more like the mud troopers, I think they're called, and stormtroopers, stuff like that, it gets a little different, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's just because the whole rest of the show is trying to be so serious and so mature. This guy, that didn't really work for me if they're trying to be comedic, and then I think it kind of hurts the show overall. I think it got a little bit better in 3 because it could kind of show that some of these guys are inexperienced, but I don't think you need to do that necessarily with the humor, and it's weird that we're like trying to make them comedic in a sense. So yeah, it just didn't really work for me here, most of the stuff. And I think the guy that has the dark hair too is not, try not to be mean, but just not the greatest actor. So anytime he's on screen, it just kind of sticks out in a bad way for me.
The like the officer dude.
Yeah, the one that
Deputy
gets
in chief, whatever.
kidnapped.
You
Yeah,
talking about this guy? Oh, sorry, wrong
Oh.
image. This guy.
Yeah, what is he from in that other one?
That's
Creepy
not
thin
him.
man.
That's
Charlie's
not
Angels.
him.
No, but that's
yeah.
exactly what I thought of when I had this guy
100%.
chasing our hero. I'm like, we
Fuck,
got creepy thin man back.
I'd love it if Crispin Glover was in Star Wars. That'd be great. But yeah, no, that guy doesn't. Not the greatest for me. Kind of sticks out a little. So
Yeah, so this is definitely, I'd say, the weakest part of the show for me right now is like the motivation for these mall cops to just go across like the galaxy to hunt down these two people that hunt down this one guy who took out these super shady cops. Like the main chief guy already like told him like how sus these guys are. Like they shouldn't be, like, not surprised that happened. So these two super sus guys got murdered, and then this guy just takes all these resources. I don't know how taxes work in the galaxy, but probably just all the taxpayers' money, sends them to another galaxy, and fucking wipes out like an entire squad of people. Are you kidding me?
Oh my god!
Like at least 12 new officers are just murdered somewhere on this unknown planet.
Well, that and just other like casual people, like look at Tim's life. We're gonna get into that, but Tim's life is he called them there, and then they gunned him down in the street, and they didn't even ask. He was just running at him. They couldn't have just kneecapped him. There's 6 of them. Like he had no
That's
weapon.
the experience, right?
Shoot
That's
first.
what's reflecting.
Yeah. I guess, but then that's where Kirkland's right. Then I want to see that followed up on, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think there are ever going to be repercussions for why did this very inexperienced squad do this? Like this is how we do it.
Oh, I think you'll get the repercussions because the guy told him not to go because he's going off to report his perfect record. So that's definitely, if they don't, then that would be a knock on the show for sure for me. I can't imagine them not.
I hope, but.
I assumed it was coming, but like now we're just already leading into like I feel like we're jumping that villain already. Like I feel like this guy is like, you know, like I don't even know where that would be placed, like the little pawn chief, and then like above him is that guy, and then we got like what's her name, Mon Mothma,
Mothma, right?
Mm-hmm. Mothra's
it's not
Godzilla.
Mothra. Okay, yes. I wasn't trying to be funny. I was actually curious. Okay, Mon Mothma, like Mon. Oh my god,
but she's not gonna be a boss. She's not gonna be bad. She's on our side. Mon Mothma.
Is she?
Yeah.
I thought she was like a...
She's always been on our side. What's going on?
She's one of the leaders of the rebellion. She's in Return of the Jedi.
Kirkland watched Star Wars a very different way. Like, this fucking bitch. She's
okay.
There
you go.
Remember?
Okay.
White
okay.
garb,
Never mind.
hair,
So disregard her. So just like, I don't know. I feel like we're just jumping up to like bigger threats other than like this guy that's just trying to keep like his perfect record. Because like, what's gonna happen of that? Like, he's gonna save Cassian because this guy's like on his ass. He's like,
joins
no,
the rebellion.
You're going
kicked out of the Empire.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I just don't have like a clean trajectory where I thought I was going to. I didn't like what we were getting because I didn't like this whole just, oh, we're going to get this guy because it's the right thing to do. I stayed up all night last night just thinking about these 2 super just sketchy cops that were like just buying booze on shift, like just in a brothel. Like, I mean, like the officer dude like already listed off all the reasons why we shouldn't really care for these guys. And then it's like, that's not good enough.
It's like if Jim Gordon found out one of his cops working with the Joker, they're like, you know, we should figure out what's going on with this cop.
Yeah,
you know, he's dead and everything.
I don't care how many cops have to die.
Yeah, it's like, and I'm in Kirkland's camp too. Like not just the villains, but like that plot line. The other stuff I was interested in, Cassian. I was interested in finding Tim and Bix, like their story. The flashbacks even interest me more. Just the setup of how we got this motion going on. I was not too intrigued because I felt it was kind of a leap for me, and I think they will be back. My thing is like, is there just repercussions for them fucking up the city and going there? Which again, I think in episode 3, great scene of the build up of people going around smacking the metal, that build up, and I love like the reckoning you hear, and then like, but it's the worst when it stops. And so, like that was great. It was intense. It was like I loved all that, the community, everything like that. It was just the guys that were propelling the action, unfortunately, that I wasn't that into as far as but it led to a fun action scene of them kind of outsmarting some people, some explosions. So not all bad. Just I just was not buckled up for our antagonist's plot as of right now.
I think that moving forward with the villains kind of storyline, I think I can go down 2 paths where you're going to have them get, which I'm assuming, reprimanded and face the repercussions of their actions for doing something like this, which will be interesting to see that fallout, or they're going to be like reinforced and backed up, like, hey, like because your main commander lied on his report, like we're gonna throw him under the bus, like deal with him, and we're gonna give you more resources to go in there and lock this planet down, because this isn't the last we're going to this planet, obviously, because the one lady is still kicking around here, and these people are gonna be punished, and Cassian will come back at some point to this planet. So I think that might be it. That's how we get our stormtroopers and mud troopers all reinforced on the ground there on that planet. So I think that's more likely the way to go about it.
Yeah. Anything else to say on the villains, bad guys, stuff like that?
I don't think so. Fortunately, there's not much to say.
Well, you know what? There is a lot to say on when people pull down your pants to see a bunch of fucking pews, because you don't want to be doing that, because Manscaped is brought to you today this episode's brought to you today by Manscaped. Summer is finishing up, and sure, you're not going to be on the beach as much, but you don't want to let yourself go. You're going to get into it. It's going to be cold. You're going to, let it go one day. Let it go a couple days. And then before you know it, it's going to be a fucking huge, those bushes they run around on Cassian's planet there? It's going to be looking like that down there. And you don't want that. Just because it's winter and everything else is going to be woolly, you don't want to be woolly. So you want to go to manscaped.com and use 20% off, or use our podcast code GVPOD at 20% off and free worldwide shipping. You can get a plethora of stuff, the t-shirts, the boxers, the 4.0 lawnmower, the plow, which I highly recommend. Fantastic for the neck. Just there's other razors where I would do it and I feel like you just could never fully get down to you just feel there's still stubble there. Not the plow. It is smooth like a newborn's baby bottom. Shout out to Family Clay who just has little one. So the weird place to put that, but still, something about newborn baby bottoms. Manscaped is what you want to be doing right now. And if you don't want to go that route, that's fine. They got a bunch of guards for you to use. They just have tons. They have body deodorant. They have soap. They got the lip balm. They got tons of stuff rocking today. I know you just did another purchase yourself.
Yes, I did. I love the boxers. Those things just, it's got to be nothing but the best. Cradling my boys in the hood, and let me tell you, those are they got the hydraulics in there, everything, and those hot rods, oh my god, they're fantastic. I would just want to say specifically though, when it comes to this time of the year, yes, in the summertime you want to go clean cut down there. You want to really just trim it out because you get sweaty, everything like that. In the wintertime, now I understand, if you go cut a little bit too much off there and it's too shaven and get cold and you don't want to have any shrinkage, embarrassing kind of moments. But thankfully with Manscaped, you get different actual sized heads, so you can actually cut the different lengths.
They're called guards.
Guards. Is that what they're called? I didn't know they were guards.
Yes.
Different heads.
I call them heads, yeah. So if we want to, change the head every now and then, for your boys below, you can change and go with a different length, because that way you're still executing and making a nice, clean, perfect shave, but you're not you're going to be shriveled up and cold and everything like that. You just got out of the cold pool or something like that. So
Yeah,
just
some
to
people like
clarify-
that,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, Manscaped does not sell additional penis heads, if you think that's what Tim's
Yeah.
talking about. They just
For
sell
your
stuff to
boy.
take care of your main head, So, right, Kirkland?
Absolutely. Yes. No. Like Taylor was mentioning, the different. Are we calling it heads now? No, guards.
guards.
Different guards you can use in there. I mean, hey, some people like a little bit of fur down there. Not particular me, but so you can get a little artsy in there, do some super fancy
The Andor
designs,
logo.
and
But at least
could
this you
do the
keep it
Andor
well
logo,
kept, well kept. It's not going to be a wild.
no, exactly. No, I mean it's like a well trimmed beard, Like
Yes.
people can rock facial hair and not look like fucking Grizzly Adams just came out of the woods for the I don't know what I was going with that, but it looks clean, and you can do that with your downstairs. And no, I know I've been pumping the shampoo and conditioner 2-in-1, and I got another set on the way because I finally went through my bottles. Because look at this hair, it's just it's getting crazy now. I need multiple pumps to get that nice and cleaned and just smelling good. And yeah, no, it's daily routine, just getting all my smells on point. My musk is a positive phrase, right?
Sure.
Or is it
No.
No, it's not.
I think
That
if
was a
someone has
hard
a
no.
musk, that's not
But like a
good
manly
sign.
musk, I'm catching.
Your
Well,
pheromones.
it's the positive side of musk that you would get from
There you
using the creams and all the nether regions, the armpits, the chest piece, the ball piece.
I think aura is a better descriptor of that guy's
aura.
got aura.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
I
musk might
exude
be-
a very manly aura by
Yes.
using the Manscaped product. So yes, go check it out. GVPOD, 20% off for what shipping.
There you go. So let's do that and take another ad break. Then we'll be right back with Cassian Andor. And we're back. So, Tay, you were saying something. Oh, go ahead.
I can totally just see people being like, "These guys don't even know how to fucking say Andor." 0 out of 5 stars.
We're gonna get one review, yeah. It's Andor, and they're gonna spell it out. And even though Stellan Skarsgård every week's gonna be Cassian Andor, and it's just did no one tell him? No one, but you don't, because Stellan Skarsgård's great, and he was great in the show. He's always great. That's a guy. I just feel if he's a football player that always has good stats. Stellan, you just know, hey, if we hire him, he's gonna be good. That's all it's sent
He's
out.
consistent.
Yeah,
Yes,
whatever you
exactly.
need him to do, he's gonna do it. So.
Unless you tell him to say Andor, he's like, "No, it's Andor." Yeah.
There's
Change
always
it. Change
one
the
word in the
script.
script he can't say. That's he won't fight. You can't fight him on it. Cassian Andor.
Exactly.
But Taylor, you were going to take us somewhere before the ad break.
Yeah, and this kind of goes more into just the cinematic point, but just from the villains when they came out of hyperspace in their ship and they were in their gunships and dropped out. Now, fortunately, the gunships are definitely not the LAAT Republic gunship, but they were very similar because they had the wings like arced down and they had just similar body hull style. But that other ship is like one of my top 5 favorite Star Wars ships of all time, and to see this just kind of similar Imperial version was cool. And again, the way it was shot, it just looked beautiful. The CGI was on point here. It was crazy. So I'm so stoked to see more of that throughout the show. Because we got some just really, really good looking shots too. Even when that one bad guy like was fucking around and just got like chain whipped into the side of that hull too. Which great shout out or Easter egg to Fallen Jedi there, or Jedi Fallen Order. Sorry, very very cool.
Kirklin, that reminded me, I wanted to bring up, what was your look at this shot? What was the shot that stuck out to you that wasn't good looking?
That was when Stellan Skarsgård was like arriving, and like I feel like it was just like really, at least for me, really noticeable, like the edges around his head, and then it was like, okay, whatever. It's like a quick shot of him just flying in, all dramatic, like who's the buyer, as if I can't tell like what the outside. It's like fucking The Rock coming in on the ship. It's like I know who this guy is, Stellan Skarsgård. But then when he actually got out of the ship and he's just like admiring the scenery, it was just like, okay, yeah, this is. I was getting some Westeros landscapes vibes there, Taylor, if you know what I'm talking about.
Woof.
But I mean, yeah, like, and again, I feel like in the grand scheme of things, it's not that bad, but just because everything else was just like 10 out of 10, it was noticeable for me because it was just like, okay, quick step down. But then, he puts on the binos and like zooms in right away. So it's like, okay, back to the good stuff. But just in that one moment, it was just like, do we have to show this? Like, come on.
Yeah, the only one that looked like a little like, okay, they clearly CGI, big setting, whatnot, is when they went to Cassian Andor's planet and it was the kids standing and there was like the big like dirt, there's like a big just dirt like hill or something like that. That's like, okay, this is not
Like the
there.
strip
But
mine sequence.
yeah, exactly. But if that's the little stuff and it's so there so quickly and it's not egregious, I'm completely fine, because the rest of the show, like 85 to 90%, looks great. So that's the one that stood out for me. Like, okay, but other than that, all looked good. So does anyone have somewhere they want to go next? I guess we should talk about Cassian. We talked about him a little, but we should talk about the main character. I don't have much to say, even though I said we should talk about, but like I do like that we're meeting him. I like that we're meeting him in a different place. He feels more desperate. He feels a bit more dangerous. He feels a bit more reckless. It feels very much of, he had that conversation with Jyn Erso, like, you don't know what I've had to do. I've been here since day one fighting. Like, you feel like you are seeing that version he talked about. I guess it's just one thing that's a little disappointing. It's just because, like, like Han Solo was a scoundrel before. They made fucking Poe a scoundrel before. And it's just kind of like, well, Cassian, what was he? A full-on scoundrel. So when they're doing the whole, like, oh, does your word even mean anything like the last time? So it's just like, they're kind of giving him the Han Solo, like, he lies and wheels and deals. And that's where I was a little disappointed. Like, I like the acting of it, but just, it's something we've just seen multiple times in Star Wars. So to give Andor that, like, backstory, it looks like after episode 3, we might be out of that. So that's where I'll judge it more when we get to the final. But for the first 2 episodes, them really playing up the, he is a scoundrel, wheeler dealer, I didn't necessarily love that, because we've just been there, done that, just like other stuff with the dark times in this show. But I think they deliver it well. I especially liked him and Stellan Skarsgård. What is his character's name? Stellan Skarsgård's character's name. Someone find that out for me.
Pawnbroker.
Luthen Rael.
Luthen, great name.
R-A-E-L.
So like that whole standoff about the box versus the money, love that. That was good. So that's where it's like, again, the stuff about him being a kind of scoundrel is done well. It's just not necessarily anything that new, and not something I think we need for Andor, because it's almost like now these 3 characters with brown brunette hair all have this past of being a scoundrel, which I know can't happen, but it it's fine. But I that scene was really good, as far as, like I said, good moments in the show as them like, what if it works? Well, I can't show you that it works, because then it won't be worth the same amount. And it's like, well, how'd you get it? Well, I'm not going to tell you how I get it. I'll give you 1,000 credits if you tell me how I get it. And then he's still even like, I liked the kind of like, will they, won't they, like who's tricking who, and they not really especially treating who. And then when Luthen's just like, hey, you actually want to like bring it to them, after Andor brings up their whole like, the reason that they didn't catch me is because no one looks for me, because they don't even think I would steal from them, because they're that cocky and arrogant. And that's where I like the lead into, well, you want to do something that will actually hurt them than just stealing one thing. So again, aspects I like of it, but I didn't need the full on scoundrel stuff.
Fair enough. Yeah, I like that whole dialogue that he had with Luthen, like regarding the box. And I mean, it was in the trailer, just being like they're all fat and like
Yes.
satisfied, and I feel like I really liked that in the trailer, and I almost forgot about it. So when he was delivering it here, it was just like, oh yeah, this is nice. It's a different way that I've heard the Empire being described, but it totally fits, and I thought that was awesome. The scoundrel stuff for me, you brought up some great points. I think I'm still I think I'm just still really liking Diego Luna, and I think there's still some like layers to him that I'm finding a lot more interesting, or maybe not a lot more interesting. That's a bad way to phrase it, but I'm finding interesting in the way that it's different from like what a Han scoundrel is like. Where like this one seems to have a lot more like gadgets and stuff that he's like looking for. Like he just seems a lot more like I know Han was great, you know, like pilot and mechanic and stuff like that, but he just seems like he's just pulling scrap and it's like, oh, this will work, and he's just like he's very
I
DIY.
guess, but then when you get that
guess.
show Solo that supposedly happened, there's apparently a scene in there where he uses a rock as a grenade, right? And I think it's just some of the descriptors of the set. Like multiple people just were saying, just like I don't know if I could trust him, or is your word good this time? It's just
That's
verbiage
fair.
people use with Han, right, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So.
that's fair. No, absolutely. And I feel like the one camp that maybe I could I could split those two a little bit easier would be like his quote unquote like home life situation with that I forget the droid's name. It was B2. I think it was like B2 EMO because
Sound like you kept just saying baby, like BB.
but like on the subtitles, like when he would speak, it'd say like B2 emo, and I just laughed because like B2 emo. But so I mean, first of all, I love that droid. He's hilarious. He was making me laugh. But also, I feel like his like dialogue to the droid, and especially about like Marva, was that her name? I think so. I said it earlier, but it just seems like he's a lot more like he has like an actual like family stake involved. Where Han, it was just like Chewie, but he like not really like a same dynamic. Really, it was just like Chewie was like his boy that he's just like doing jobs with, and like he always was that like tough on the exterior, and then like you get through that shell after like a movie. But like Andor, like he already seems like he has a lot to lose, honestly, like with the family situation with Bix, I can't remember. Yeah, Bix.
Give him the biz.
Yeah, giving Bix the biz now that
Yeah.
Tim's gone. Not that would have stopped him.
No.
So yeah, I don't know. I was kind of fumbling around with my description, but I feel like I'm taking enough out of Cassian to just make him feel like his own character, and for me it's working. I hope I keep getting more gadgets and stuff. I'm a sucker for that stuff. So and yeah, just more. I hope B2 doesn't take like a a back seat. Maybe that's a bad hope because I don't think he's gonna be a main character by any means, but I think his inclusion was just really, really good for these last 3 episodes. Like I like feel bad for him because he's like handicapped a little bit. Like he's not like a perfect droid, you know. He's got some quirks, but I mean, we saw him kicking right when he was all shiny red in that flashback scene. So really cool design too for a droid, one I hadn't seen before. And you know, no matter what happens with Star Wars, they're just always they always just kill like giving these droids their own personality and just their own like uniqueness. And I as long as they just keep designing new ones, I'll probably just keep loving them. We had like a stair droid that came in to like help Luthen off of like his van when he got there, and it was just like, oh, that's awesome. Like I love that they just have like a droid for that. But anyways,
There's a droid for that.
long rant all over.
How you feel about Cassian so far in these first 3 episodes?
Well, I was just gonna say quickly on the droid. I don't know if you can see it, but it reminds me of Old Republic droids. They just I know it's more
Oh,
squared
yeah.
off, but like
That's
the
fair.
style was like very, very like similar, reminiscent. So that's probably why I was kind of like latching on there a little bit to it. But as far as Cassian goes, absolutely love him. I can't deny like they do tend to make these scoundrels into the good guy heroes, but I think Cassian is different because even how he puts it in Rogue One, where he's talking about how he's done terrible things, and I think that's going to be the reoccurring theme here. Because even when Skarsgård's telling him like, just kill him, like, yeah, you want me to kill him, and I think that's going to be a reoccurring thing here, where Cassian is maybe leaving people alive and kind of. Even when he hesitated to kill that second guard at the beginning of episode 1, I think that's going to be something he has to come to terms with, where we get to the point in Rogue One where he just outright kills this innocent man just to kind of get away. So we're going to be dealing with Skarsgård, I think, trying to rough him up a little bit, like for the mission's sake, like just execute, kill. That's more important. So I think we're going to be seeing him turn more from being like his current status, where he's definitely not doing too good. He's got a lot on the line, and he's definitely just trying to keep up with things, and that's going to turn and transition into him being this deadly assassin where he's just killing people just to get information, everything like that. So I like where that's going to go, and I think that's what's going to separate him from being your Norm Poe Dameron or your Han Solo in that sense. So and plus too, just to separate him from those characters, him being who he is, Cassian, it's the way he's been acting and portraying this character. It's already put himself in a different pedestal from Han Solo and all them. So I like what we're gonna see.
Is it though? It's just some event happens and then they get brought into the rebellion, and then the rebellion people. Like, it's very similar.
Well, it is, but then each character just feels different in how they deliver it. Yes, they all started as scoundrels, but I like that it's just this. It's this common cause that just kind of pulls them into it. But that's the thing with Cassian. He's not coming around to like blow up the Death Star or do anything like that. Like at the end of the day, he's turning into a character that'll kill you if you get in his way, because he's just trying to do the greater good, I guess. Or Han Solo
Luthen will.
wouldn't.
No, that was
Luthen will if he doesn't.
That was the ending of, like, I hate to refer to this movie, but that was the ending of Solo when he kills Woody Harrelson, because Woody Harrelson's like, you wouldn't, because remember the whole movie Solo won't kill people, and they're like, you wouldn't kill, and then he shoots him, and they do the whole
you knew was coming. It was a standoff, high noon situation. He was ready to pull the trigger on him.
He still did it,
but,
though. He still
but
killed
in
him.
the sense where if he was like an innocent man saying like, how am I going to get out of here? Like, my arm, I can't climb, and Cassian just kills him. Or if he's like a guy dead to rights like this on his knees, like we saw in these episodes, Cassian didn't pull the trigger, but that's what he's turning into. He'll turn into, with Skarsgård's mentorship, that guy, that assassin that will start executing these people instead of giving them that benefit of the doubt.
But like
But he
even
executed
before-
the guy in the first
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, but he waited, right? He was like, there was that doubt and there was that buildup. It wasn't a quick cut, because if you compare that to where he was in Rogue One, there was no delay in that execution. So I think that's the trajectory we're going to see. That's the development we're going to have, where Skarsgård's mentorship is coming and inflicting here. Because again, like he says, there's that scene like, just kill him. You want me to kill him? Like he's egging him on to put him in that position.
I guess it's just because he did in the first episode. It's just like, okay, so in Rogue One, he'll just do it a bit quicker. You know, like that's my thing, where it's not like a huge leap in character development. I wish it was. I wish they didn't kill that guy. And what would happen is that guy left alive. That's when he like went back and told them like, oh yeah, this happened, blah blah blah. And same thing, because it's weird in episode 3 when he doesn't kill the guy. So it's like, you just had an episode where he flat out killed the guy. This is much dire straits to be put in. So that's where I feel like it's kind of a little like a little mixed up with him, a little messy and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know, but
Yeah.
So- anyways, go ahead, Andor.
Okay.
Andor.
Yeah, I mean, holy crap, let's try this.
Come on, big boy, get it together.
Come on, big boy. Oh, don't be
Bullet
greedy now.
Train, 6 days.
I
on
cannot wait
VOD.
for that
Oh, I can't
VOD.
wait,
I'm
yeah.
paying full price to watch that again. That's a great movie.
100%. Yeah, I can't wait to watch that.
But yes, getting back to Andor. I mean, what you pitched right there, Travis, like that would have made so much sense, right? Because like, especially like what Taylor was like building there is like, if we're building up to this turn that's gonna happen through like Luthen's guidance or something, that he's just gonna become this I don't know, like a G.I. Joe type character that just like has a task and he just does it, and he's just like a cold kill, not like a bounty hunter or anything, but like he'll get shit done no matter what. He doesn't matter if he has to kill anyone. And then like that could be the change that we see. But because we already saw him like murder this guy, not only does it like make the like the threat a lot more believable if he kept this guy alive, and it's like, oh yeah, no, this guy was looking for this, and then that takes us to, what was his like native planet called? It was like start with a K. I don't remember, but anyways, Carisha.
Korean.
Carisha.
Yeah. Not kerosene either. I'm just thinking of other ones.
Kerosene gas.
I thought it was like-
Kerosene,
yeah,
not
I
that.
thought it was like Karsion or something. Carisian or
We'll find out.
Crossian. Yeah.
Casa.
Fuck. There's
That's
no
not
N in
Casa?
there.
That's
Oh
not
no, that's
Casa.
Cassian.
Casa.
Canary.
That's
Canary.
Cassian.
Canary. So yeah,
Canary,
like he has the ties to this, and like just suspicious individual, and like I feel like that would have been a lot more digestible and believable for me, other than this guy that like he's like, you killed just 2 of us, kept me up all night. But I digress. And then if I didn't already say it, like he's already shown us that he can kill someone, and it's not like he's keeping them up at night, right? Like like he was still like, he got back to that other planet, and he was just like carrying on with business. Like he had to sell that box. He was kind of covering his trail there. Like he definitely seemed like, you know, like stressful, because he just went through, like he murdered 2 people, so it's like trying to cover his tracks and get his story straight. But like, I don't know, versus someone that like had never killed someone before, I feel like they would have just been in shock and like probably would have just like stayed with the bodies and like not been able to react. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm in full agreement there. So anything else on Cassian Andor? No. Okay, let's talk about actually, let's take our last ad break. It's probably our last ad break, and then let's talk about Bix and Tim and all this. So we'll be right back. All right, and we're back. So I like Bix, former of Morbius fame. I like her. You know, she's good and everything like that. Tim,
There's gonna be a Hitman coming out too. I checked out her IMDb.
There's a Hitman coming out?
Yeah, she's in it.
Like a show or a movie?
Oh, look into that.
Okay.
Keep talking.
Anyway, so you got that. I like her, and I think all this for me was very rushed. I like the concept of she's friends with Cassian. She has a romance on the side. He's kind of worried, like he's wondering what's her relationship with Cassian. He rats him out, and then later on she's having a conversation with someone else. He's like, "Oh, they're not gonna find," and she's like, "How do you know?" I just thought I liked what was going on here, but I thought it was moved very quick, especially when, okay, he's going to redeem himself. He has a change of heart. He goes to find her. But then when he's just shot dead, right dead, it's like that storyline's over. This storyline where there's going to be some tension, maybe a bit more conversation, even a bit more of a redemption. No, it goes from like, how could you? Like pretty much just saying like, don't even talk to me anymore. And then leave a street corner, and then he finds them, which I guess, you know, you can figure it out somehow. It must not be the biggest town, and then when they just shoot him. So I unfortunately liked what was going on there and what they were setting up. I just thought in the 3 episodes, it felt like it sped up. I felt like for a storyline that should have been the 6 to 7, if we're doing 12, that in the 3 episodes, it's just strange that now this thing with Tim is just over with. It's done and over with, and there's not really any, I don't know. We didn't get much feeling of how, we know how Tim felt because he changed his mind, but it's just like there wasn't a feeling of us getting to see that growth of, man, I really screwed up, or him getting to know about it. I thought there was something good there, but it just didn't fully hit for me, even though I really like Bix, and I'm enjoying what she's putting together so far. And like I said, you had some spicy, juicy stuff going on there, which cut away. So I liked it enough, but that's where I am on those 2.
Quick interjection in the Star Wars stuff. Hitman, gonna be a movie starring Glenn Powell, Travis Snell.
As Agent 47?
I don't think it's that. The description says it follows
okay.
Gary Johnson, a staff investigator who plays the role of a hitman to catch individuals.
Okay, I thought you were telling me this new Hitman movie being made.
Well, it just said Hitman,
really?
so I assumed it was. I assumed it was Codename 47. I don't want Glenn Powell just like bald head with the barcode on the back. That could look weird.
No.
Not good for his career, I'd imagine.
Just take all his charisma away. Too. Like, you're going to be deadpan, no emotion. Like, we know you're a great guy, but we don't want to show any of that on screen.
Yeah,
like, Agent 47 is a role.
Good looking like this guy.
Yeah, he's perfect for Hitman.
He could be cool. Yeah, he could be Hitman 47.
Because Agent 47 is where like charisma's like goes to die. You can't be charismatic as Agent 47.
No, 100%. Yeah, I agree with you. I really like Bix. I feel like I would have been completely fine if Tim just wasn't even a character in this. Oh. And I think what we kind of were mentioning, Travis, of like if we have Andor Cassian like not murder this guy, and then like that is what kind of starts the pursuit. You don't need Tim at all, and his like weird fucking behavior with his like girlfriend that I don't know, he thinks he's like cheating on her, and he's like drinking heavily and like tailing her at night. He felt like Joe from You. And I was getting really uncomfortable with it in some portions. He's gonna steal Bix's phone or something. Yeah, I was worried. Frame John Stamos. He's gonna frame Luthen. Yeah, and I like for me, like I guess you can kind of like you can like try and explain to me like your defense on Tim, and I'd be like, okay, I get it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't know. It's just like the performance was really bizarre for me. Like anytime I have this character on screen who's just like a jealous boyfriend or something, and you just get like a shot of him just like drinking heavily and like watching his girlfriend, and then he's like, yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, like, oh yeah, staying late, eh? Oh, not coming in tomorrow, and like.
Ask her a fucking question, bro. Like,
yeah, he didn't say like anything like that. Like he didn't
Yeah.
confront her. I was expecting something when she went there late at night for like a booty call that didn't happen or anything, and he just like stared at her all night.
Like,
Very
what
bizarre.
if reporting Cassian gets her in trouble and killed too? Which almost did. So it's just like, why not ask? I hate stuff
Yeah.
like that of just like jumping to the
Well,
worst. It's just.
I didn't even know that like he knew who Cassian was until like she confronted him and was like, did I ever tell you that Cassian was from? I already forgot the planet's name, but like
Kanari.
Kanari, 'cause, like they just don't do a good job, like for that character at least, to like see the tie. And like I thought he just like was suspicious of her or something, and then like saw her and Cassian is like, oh, this guy's coming in like stealing my woman. Like that's what I got from it. So I'm like laughing at this trope that I've seen like so many times. Like this is so stupid. And then he just like angrily rats Cassian out. Big regrets it, has like a not even like a redemption because he's just like running at Bix and gets fucking smoked by the troopers. So
Well, he
yeah, for
sleeps
me,
with the
Tim,
girl. That's his redemption.
he didn't though. He just stared at her all night.
No, I'm
right?
pretty
He
sure they
just-
had sex. I'm pretty sure they did.
No,
They're
she was
implying
going
that,
straight
but
to bed.
They had. Yeah,
She needed a bed to sleep in.
Yeah,
It's
they're,
him.
they're implying that, but they were both fully clothed the next day. So
Well, it's a Disney show, you know.
I know.
Just have a
but
full-on Predator 2 scene in
There was
episode
more-
3 of Andor.
There was. Remember, Wanda and Vision had more juice than that, though. Remember, they went to bed, turned the lights off, and they get in the bed together and stuff. And plus, just the Halloween episode overall. So there could have
know.
been something, but I'm not saying. Look at Icarus and what's her name, Cersei. There's huge things, but yeah, no, I think they definitely got it on. I guess so.
And what I forgot to mention, because I got on a tangent about Tim, is I feel like the big stuff would have worked like without him, like at all. Like just have her and Cassian have like this flirtatious like confrontation thing where like she's like done with his bullshit, and then he comes around and they. I'm not gonna say make sweet love, but at least embrace or something. I mean, I'll take the love making by any means, but I don't know. Like, I just thought I really liked those two's dynamic of like, and again, like I was just shitting on a trope that I've seen so many times. I've seen this done many times where he's just like, oh, I need this for this. Like, oh, I'm tired of your bullshit. But I don't know. I think it's just like their on-screen chemistry was just really working for me, which is something that Tim did not have. Like, Tim, go do Codename 47. Go do that. Go do that guy. 'Cause he had no charisma. But yeah, I'm excited for more of Bix. I'm glad she didn't have like a solid send off or anything.
Not Agent 47, Codename 47. That's what you get, Timmy. You don't get to be the agent. So, Taylor, why did you love Tim?
Really didn't. Like he was that classic case of a guy that just he's seeing something and he leaves too soon. He left seconds before seeing his girl.
He's like insecure with his
pulled back.
manhood or something.
He's
just
so
like, oh.
insecure, and like it was just I found it kind of cheesy
Fuck
when
my
she's
wife?
like she's at the table alone waiting, and then Andor shows up, and then like she pulls her hand away and she leaves, and you look like 10 feet away, and at the bar it's just him just standing there staring
Yeah.
angrily. It's like, oh, this guy's. Like,
I'm gonna report you if you fuck my wife.
I don't know why he's so insecure, because at the end of the day, he's the one sleeping with her and is building a relationship with her, and she is holding secrets. So I can understand him having his reservations and concerns.
That's
It's gonna
It's
be
like
like
the
that
biggest-
TikTok I shared with you months ago. Remember, of that guy, the woman that slept with the one guy went back to the other guy. That's what
Oh,
he was.
God.
That's what he was.
that
worried
would
was
have
gonna
been.
happen.
Yeah. He saw that TikTok or whatever the space TikTok was. And tripped
You're not
out.
fucking me up.
Fuck, you killed my brain. I don't even know what I was gonna say now. What was I gonna say?
Insecure.
Oh yeah, no, like you don't even have like him confronting Bix at all. Like he literally takes the most beta male approach. Like I'm just gonna tell the cops that like this guy's
Oh, yeah.
this guy's stealing my woman.
Yeah.
That's not what he told.
He doesn't
them.
confront any of them. It's not like, hey babe, like
No,
what's
he's a
going
coward.
on? Yeah, like
wish
I
that's
know
what he
about
did
this
call them
Cassian.
though. Not that he's from that planet. Like, hey,
my
Empire,
wife.
this guy's fucking my wife. Can you come get him?
I did enjoy that scene though when he went and he was all like drunk and he went to go and make the phone call, and that the alien next to him in the booth like looks at him and then like slowly turns his back more to him. It was so subtle, but I just loved how shady it was.
Tim has a history of drinking at around these weekends, you know. So
Tim's back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool flash though.
His
That he was
girlfriend's
drinking
cheating
out
on
of.
him again.
yeah. Every time Cassian's back in town, oh man, it's over for him. But so that's why it's like, oh god, I'm not exactly sad that we lost him, but I just wish that story was done a bit better because now there's no redemption for the story. Like it couldn't get
Yeah.
any better. So it's just like that's the story, and here we go. And next episode, Biggs is gonna be all sad about and stuff. And
I don't know if there was any redemption coming out of that because again, I don't even know what his game plan was. Like you're faced with 5 dudes with assault rifles. Like, what's your plan?
well, I didn't think they're gonna shoot him down.
He's
though.
bleeding. Yeah, he just. Well, I mean, he has not been the great man
like,
of deduction at this.
That's
time,
true.
so.
But even like our police, unless you have a weapon, they're not just supposed to like. They're not supposed to just gun you down if you're just running at them free will. Like that's where the kneecaps
tase
come
you.
in and stuff. Yeah, they'll tase you. You don't just
They'll kneecap you.
Yeah, or
I think
kneecap.
tasing easier.
The guy's
Go for
like,
the
I-
But
knees.
we can't make
I had no choice. Had to go
we
for
can't
these.
make that comparison, unfortunately, though, because they're a
They
galactic
say shit
empire.
here, right?
They
It's
Oh, yeah.
blurring the lines.
Oh,
Confirmed.
yeah, that's true. Well, I guess they do have that feedback box they were talking about, right? So they have a monthly
Yeah.
complaint box. You can file information.
Yeah, some guy keeps calling about his fucking wife being banged by Cassie. Can we do something
Why
about
aren't you
it?
doing anything?
That's why they locked her up. Like, don't worry, we got him. We got her locked up here.
Yeah.
Christ.
No, lock him up. Lock him up. I still need her. That's my wife. He's fucking my
Are you
wife.
fucking my wife? Are you fucking? That's why he charged at the guy. You fucking.
Just drinking
Are
like
you
more,
fucking
taking
my
shots.
wife? Oh god. Yeah, he
Yeah,
won't be in
lackluster death for a lackluster character
Yeah.
in my eyes.
when they talk about the annals of history as far as people that helped the rebellion, Tim ain't gonna be in there. You know, he's not even a footnote. He's just a piece of shit somewhere. He's literally a piece of shit thrown in the yard. So, that's it.
Anything
Go
else on
ahead.
Tim or Bix? I was gonna
No,
make
I'm
our way
looking
to
forward to see
the.
where Bix goes in the future. So,
Yeah, I was gonna bring up the. I don't know what they are. The Mo cops or something like that. They had like a specific term.
Mall cops.
Because they're like corporate. They're like private cops basically that are loyal to the Empire. I don't know
Yeah, it's
specifically.
kind of like so. The Empire, from how I understand it, the Empire has corporations, and the corporations have their own like private security and their own private like infantry, and so they use that as kind of like the forefront. So you have your outer mid-rim planets, and you have the corporations, the mining colonies, all that kind of stuff operating on these planets, and you have the the workers and the military associated with those. And then when you come more inwards, then you have more like the Imperial Guards, Imperial troops, all that kind of stuff. So it's an extension of themselves, but it allows them to cover more ground without, I guess, expending more of their valuable resources.
Yeah.
Bear Cub's absolutely right. Think of them as security guards in a mall. They're not supposed to kill anyone. 100%. Imagine at Orchard Park, somebody just ran them and the cops just fucking shot them in the
I'd
heart.
hope they not have fucking laser guns at the mall.
No
Absolutely.
weapons, just.
But this is, again, if you kill 2 security guards, and then, what happens?
he
This-
kill
Send in
two?
24.
Yeah,
No,
remember at
our-
the beginning of the episode, he
Andor.
killed 2 mall cops.
No,
and
I'm
then so
talking
the
about
rest came
Tim.
together. Oh, Tim? No.
yeah,
No.
they
But
just
this is
gunned
the
him down.
wake, though, of 2 mall cops have died. So now they're like, okay, well, anyone could be
They're
killing
on
these mall
edge.
cops.
Yeah.
So it's him.
I hope that doesn't happen in Kelowna. Just 2 mall cops die and all our cops are on edge of like, we're going to take down anybody right now. But-
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. I like for them though. I mean, thanks for filling in some gaps, Taylor. I do like this usage of like a different like suit of armor that's not just like a stormtrooper. Like it's a different sect. So that's fun. I already mentioned my grievances with them, but on the positive side, I liked how like out of their element they felt, like in like the streets of it. Don't like, I don't know why it just popped in my mind, but like Fast 5 when they're in like the favelas and like the cops are like chasing them and they just like can't get them anymore because they're just like so deep in like the trenches. Yeah.
Right to the rock's
I don't know
face.
anything about that movie except for that one portion for some reason.
What I did
But
say
he-
is a line from the movie, you know.
No,
Oh, that's
you
what
brought
you
back,
know.
you
Yeah.
brought back memory. It's in that same scene, right? Because he's
Yeah.
chasing him. He's like, "Not today, guys."
There's like
during
literally
the Rock
50
Johnson.
million cops with guns at him. He goes, but you can't get me because this is Brazil. Like he does say this is Brazil, and you're just like, man, but they don't get him, so he's right. So
Yeah, 100%. But like, that's the vibe I got. Like, they were just so deep in like the quote unquote favelas, lack of a better term, whatever they are just like these streets and corridors. Like they mentioned the line, like there's no street signs. Like they just don't know where they are.
Streets
And
of
like that
Brazil.
fear factor that's coming in when they're just like banging like the chimes and just like it's sending like obviously a warning to Cassian and just other people
Fuck
like
my
in
wife.
in the world. Yeah, they know he fucked his wife.
go, Cassie. That's the first
But,
thing
like-
Luthen says. Hey, you fuck his wife, Andor.
But like I just loved how many different purposes that had. Like it was to get under their skin. You know, you had that great line with Cassian's guardian mother Marva of just like, oh, that's the sound of a reckoning. Like it was just a really epic moment, and I loved all that stuff and just the fear that these cops had. It's like we should not have came for those two guys. We lost the whole platoon. The entire like East squad was just
Yes.
wiped out. Like,
Yes.
my gosh.
Very bold play. Superbad Mike says mall cops usually take themselves too seriously too.
Yeah.
True, but I hope they're not murdering people. You know, there's a sense of seriousness, and I guess these
Yeah.
guys can murder people. But
I did like that line when he's like, did you edit your uniform? Because he's just like standing all proud, like he's got this like super, I don't know, fancy popped off uniform that looks so different than everyone else's.
You can cosplay.
As this guy, maybe as creepy thin man. Who is this guy?
great character. I loved him in Charlie's Angels. I'm out of notes for the. Oh wait, there was I think one quick thing I had to add. Oh, just in the flashbacks, I like there's a moment where Cassie, when he's in the ship and he sees himself in a mirror, and it's very likely the first time he's ever seen himself in a mirror.
Yeah.
Have
that.
they not looked at water and seen themselves in
I
water?
thought the same thing, but it's like it's clear, right, and stuff like that and everything. Plus, did we actually see water on that planet?
They're human. Or they're humanoids.
I
They
thought
gotta
that
have
their
water.
But they could be drinking,
base
like,
was next
tree-
to water.
They could be drinking like tree sludge or something.
Yeah, I
don't know,
think it was on like a
sap.
river, Taylor.
Yeah, I think their
you're right.
base was next
Okay.
to a river. Yeah.
So I thought the same thing when he saw him, like when they have water, but still, just the idea of it's so crystal clear, he knows exactly what it was
Yeah.
like. So I really liked that little small moment just to kind of set that apart. If he's seen this technology, this equipment, this gear that he's never seen before, even thought of before. So I liked that.
100%. I'll shout out like the setting that Luthen and Andor Cassian had, like the handoff. Just when
Yes.
that like totally went into chaos and like there was just people coming in and all those chains and like engines, whatever the hell was hanging, just chaos was going on. I really liked that whole sequence. That was sweet. And yeah, like it blows my mind because like someone would have done like concept art for like, oh yeah, this is just a really cool meeting place, and they're like, how can we incorporate this into the action? And so it's just great, like shout out to whoever's in charge of all that stuff.
And I like that Cassian turned into like a Warzone player when you have your last scavvy box and you're really deciding like, should I go for it, should I not? Because he wasted a lot of time, got shot, didn't even get that box, didn't
I know
even get it.
he went like
you know?
80% the way there too. It's not even
Yes.
like he went halfway and it was a waste if he doesn't get it. It was just like right there. Oh, but
But then he got shot, right? So that you got to back off when you get shot, you know. So
he lost one armor plate. It's
exactly.
like, oh, I got armor up. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, great little setting. There's all this stuff going down, taking people out. I like that Luthen had like the explosives on the entrance of like, oh, you always gotta think of your way out on your way in. I'm like, okay, I'm again, it's Stellan, but just even the lines they were giving this character, I'm digging them and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a good little set piece there.
A couple of things I just wanted to note on. Again, yeah, great set piece. I love that. It was all fantastic, and Stellan just delivered that whole sequence. The scene with Stellan in that ship going into town, I really liked him just speaking to this other random guy. Just, I don't know, it was a good little humbling moment, and I couldn't tell if Stellan was like enjoying it or what he was really gonna do, but he was like offering like these little smirks and smiles. So I like that he appreciated the company of just, you're traveling and you just have that old quirky guy that might just like pop up next to you and just starts telling you stories or talking to you about the good times. And it was a humbling moment that I appreciate.
I had that happen recently, this past weekend actually.
Really? Did you enjoy it?
Enjoyed enough. Was trying to film something for the podcast, but
Oh yeah, yes, yeah, that happens a lot. I know what you mean.
I learned a lot that weekend.
Other things I wanted to point out too. Again, the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order whole sequence there, that was very, very like cool to see that whole thing unfold in live action, and then
Like the shipwreck things.
the shipwrecking, yeah, and the
I
people
love that
working
too.
there,
That was
yeah. And then we also got some more creatures from Star Wars Force Awakens, which I really like. There was another one of the like aliens from Jakku that we saw, and then one of the like the bird like vulture things too. We saw a couple of those in this episode, which is cool. There was a few other things I can't remember, but there was some really cool reoccurring themes from the sequel trilogy that I appreciate.
That one sequence with I think his name was Zen, like where Cassian was, I don't know, buying like a way off the planet or something with that one guy who was like bickering with an alien. Is that the alien you're referring to, or one of them?
A different alien.
He's like a crusty looking guy, but I love that sequence. I don't. This is again something that's happened so many times in Star Wars, where like a human type character is just interacting with like an alien. You don't know what the fuck they're saying, but they're just like going at each other. Oh, that humor gets me so much. It's such a great Star Wars thing.
I love the design of Vesh. I love the
Oh, yeah.
conversation. She's like, you brought him here? Why is I just supposed to stand here? It's like, oh, you brought him into this. Like that little back and forth, and then like when he walks away, Vesh is just like, oh, I don't know. Like he just lifts it. Like I loved that little sequence there. That was some good Star Wars humor that worked for me right there. So.
100%. Yeah, no, I love Vetch because like just this huge, like you can't even see the top of his head, like
No.
the way that they have like the shot, and then just looks up and like obviously Cassian like knows Vetch. He's just like, see you later, man. Like he's all friendly with him. He's like, really? He's like, you're really doing this? He's like, how about I'll do us all a favor? I'll forget this ever happened. And he just like goes on. So again, it's just a scoundrel trait, just be all charismatic and being able to schmooze your way out of anything. Or most things. Not Tim. Tim was going to bring down a reckoning if he ever got the chance.
Tim, he wouldn't have been good in the rebellion. He would have blown it, multiple times.
He would have called. He would have told on them. He was like, all these guys are... I can't even say
They're
it.
all fucking my wife. Well, is there anything else you guys have to shout out about these first 3 episodes? Or we covered the gamut? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week, which Kirklin has to still decide what we're doing with these reviews. We don't know if they will be dropping Wednesday morning or Thursday morning. She-Hulk.
Check my Twitter. I'll
Check your
announce
Twitter.
it.
Okay. you got some days to decide. But either way, we'll be reviewing Andor. We'll be here for all 12 episodes. And, I'm happy. This motivated me to be on the show more in the future because, didn't love the show, but I love this review. It was a fun one. We went on some good tangents and some good stuff. And I got to keep updated on these villains. So, yeah. When you hear from us next, it won't be boring. And may the Force be with you.
Always.